Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Xavier Hawk, and this is the presentation I gave at the Permaculture Voices Conference in Temecula, California in March 2014 to a large group of people who were, by and large, not familiar with Bitcoin. So this presentation, for those of you who are familiar with Bitcoin, a large portion of it, the first third at least, is about Bitcoin itself and what it does and what it means, and the second portion is mostly about cryptocurrency as a space, and the third portion is about what permacredits are. But essentially the local currency for the global permaculture movement. And if anything was an indication of how amazing this is going to grow and what it's going to do for people, if the Permaculture Voices Conference was any indication, I'm very excited to be able to present this information to you and share it with the world. I think you will, by the end of this, see the value of permacredits. So a little bit about me. I have 4 beautiful daughters and a gorgeous wife, and we live in the mountains of western North Carolina. I used to do this, did a bunch of this, worked with a lot of really amazing and inspiring individuals. I drive one of these, but it runs on these. And we also, my wife and I, founded a Colony Earth, a off-grid eco-village in western North Carolina where we put earthships and off-grid housing and create an ecosystem with stacked functions for ultimate profitability, as well as the triple bottom line, taking care of the planet, taking care of our people, and creating revenue. So the topics of this conversation is threefold. It's Bitcoin and the world of cryptocurrency, for those of you who do not understand or know about it yet. It's also about the permaculture of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, and an introduction to permacredits and what an amazing thing and vehicle this is for really creating the world of our dreams. Okay, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is essentially a digital currency that has a very unique and timely space in history. It was created by a fellow named Satoshi Nakamoto, which is a pseudonym, and it is not of any consequence who the fellow really is at this point, because ultimately the box has been opened and Pandora's box has been opened, right? Satoshi Nakamoto looked and discovered a way to solve what's called the Byzantine general's problem, which is essentially boiled down to this: an issue of trust. In the past, one general would let another general know via courier that he was sending money for supplies, and then the other general would send him supplies. But in the interim, in that time that it took for the money to get over there, it was attacked by lions or something like that, and the guy had already sent supplies, and he's like, "Where's my money?" Well, this Bitcoin essentially solves that equation by making it trustless and making instantaneous, and I'll explain a little bit about that. But it's ultimately created on what's called a blockchain, which is a long string of numbers, a big, long string of numbers divided up into blocks, and inside of those blocks that are wrapped in a cryptography are certain sequences of numbers that represent what is called a Bitcoin. Now, when people say Bitcoin, they're talking about 3 different things. They're talking about the blockchain, which is that long string of numbers broken into blocks that's cryptographically encased, with bitcoins in it. And that also serves a number of functions. That blockchain does a number of things besides hold bitcoins, and I'll explain a little bit about that as we go along. There's Bitcoin, the coin, those few numbers that represent the coin or represent that store of value. And then there's the protocol. The protocol is what gets a lot of the proponents of Bitcoin really excited, because it allows for that instantaneous fluid movement of money or value, a store of value. And it allows for a number of other things that we will see in what's called Bitcoin 2.0. So just to make it a really simple analogy, Bitcoin is to real money, real money, or fiat money. Bitcoin is to fiat money as email is to snail mail, as the internet is to the encyclopedia. What we're talking about is all of our instruments of civilization, such as communications, information exchange, and value exchange, are going from the meat space world of real world time and space, where you have to wait for things, to the internet age of digital ones and zeros and instantaneous transformation of information and ideas and value. So just like all things, we are progressing into a world of faster processing power, essentially. And Bitcoin is the natural progression of that. Much like the railroad really opened up commerce and trade and the extrajudicial colonialization of this continent, and this Bitcoin allows for that immediate transference of value. So what does that mean? It means payment freedom. It's possible to send and receive any amount of money instantaneously anywhere in the world at any time. You don't have to worry about bank holidays. You don't have to worry about borders and cross-borders exchanges, no imposed limits, and Bitcoin allows its users to be in full control of their money. No more banks. It's as easy as sending an email. Recently, in Q4 of 2013, I think it was like early December, somebody moved $140 million worth of Bitcoins from one wallet to another wallet instantaneously. What that means is that somebody maybe in Texas transferred $140 million worth of Bitcoins to a wallet that he's opening up in Singapore, or vice versa, or whatever. My point here is that never before in the history of human civilization as we know it has that amount of wealth transferred that quickly with no fees and no bottlenecks. In the past, we would have to use something like Western Union or bank-to-bank transfers that would take many days, sometimes weeks, and for verification processes and all of that, and it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars in fees. This takes out all of that and takes me and a fella in Thailand, and we are now locals in the ability to change currency and value. And plus, there's no bank holidays or trusting third parties with your money anymore. You are in full control of your assets. Very low fees. Bitcoin payments are currently processed with either no fees or extremely small fees. No more credit card fee transactions. Basically, that means if you're a vendor and you sell a product and you accept credit cards, you're getting charged an extra, sometimes 3–4%. And if you're a remittance service, you're talking, in the teens percentages of fees that are being charged. Well, with Bitcoin, you don't have to do that. This is why Overstock.com has done over $1 million in business in 1 quarter. Of Bitcoin transactions, because they're the tens of thousands of dollars that they are not spending anymore on credit card fees is going straight into their pockets, and they really love that. And there's no risk involved, because if they want to, they can take those Bitcoins that they receive and transfer them directly into dollars immediately, frictionless. So if you don't feel comfortable with the idea of Bitcoin and its volatility, you can just take the fiat currency in exchange immediately because of the services that are out there that provide that. Also, there are fewer risks for you merchants because Bitcoin transactions are secure, irreversible, and do not contain customer-sensitive or personal information. It protects you from losses by fraud or fraudulent chargebacks, and no PCI compliance. No more chargebacks on PayPal or credit cards. If you sell an ebook online and somebody pays you via PayPal, they get the ebook and they're like, this sucks. All of that hard work that you did gets kicked out the window when PayPal gives them their money back and takes it from you, because it's outside of the control of yourself to determine whether or not you should give a refund, right? Well, this gets rid of that, and you're back in control of whether or not you're going to be doing chargebacks or refunds. So all of these things are amazing, but they are even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what the capabilities of Bitcoin really have in terms of the blockchain and the protocol. When Satoshi Nakamoto first created or discovered Bitcoin and the way to solve that Byzantine general's problem, he realized that there's so much more that you could do with it, like writing smart contracts that execute themselves, the securities, all kinds of data information, and so much more. But ultimately, I just want you to remember right now the idea of contracts and what we can do with an open ledger blockchain. So for all of you permaculturalists out there, I want to impress upon you that Bitcoin is so much like permaculture, and these are the ways. It is an ecosystem. It's full of payment processing, merchants, bank wallets, gift cards, precious metal exchanges, real-time trading, fixed-rate trading. There are cypherpunks who helped discover all of the ideas that helped the foundation of this whole thing happen. There are miners, mining pools, ASIC manufacturers, exchanges, payment processors, gambling sites, all kinds of folks that are making the system work because they're an ecosystem of interdependent, mutually beneficial systems, just like permaculture. It's also full of early adopters who are passionate risk takers. They're creative and disruptive, free-thinking and community-minded, and quite intelligent, just like all the folks in permaculture. And it's at its brand awareness stage, growing the outlets for usage and increasing user adoption. So we are at the it's not even cresting yet. We're surfers and we see a wave coming, and it is Bitcoin. It is digital currencies and all of the ramifications that it holds for how the civil society governs itself and exchanges wealth and exchanges value. And it's just like permaculture, because permaculture is at the same stage. All of these ideas are forming the foundations of what it is that we will be living on if our civilization is to continue. So the challenge that permaculture faces is, with thousands of people all over the planet dreaming, designing, and already implementing permaculture systems, it's only the financial nutrients that are lacking in our collective soils. To give you an analogy, I was sitting in, on Colony Earth, we have this greenhouse that has this wonderful rain shower in it. And it was 20 degrees out in January before I was going to present at the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami. So I was the Bitcoin guy. I was the permaculture guy at the Bitcoin conference, and then I was the Bitcoin guy at the Permaculture Voices Conference. And it's given me a unique perspective on how all of this works. And I was sitting in this bath, rain shower. You know, the snow outside on the roof was melting because, you know, it was like 90 degrees inside and 20 degrees outside. So this condensation was building, and I was watching these two bubbles through the steam, and they were sliding down, and I saw this one big fat bubble and this tiny little fast-moving zippity-doo-dah bubble, and hit the big bubble, and the whole mass coagulated and went really fast, even faster than the small one was going before, and then, you know, went further down the window pane. And that made me realize that that big bubble was indicative of, you know, permaculture and the ecosystem of permaculture. It started, you know, 50s, 60s with Fukuoka, and grew in the 70s and 80s and further. I mean, we have a long history, and it's made up of a lot of organic moving parts that are slow but coming together and forming this wonderful space. Well, here comes this upstart Bitcoin, fast, mobile, 21st century technology, zippity-doo-dah, hits the big bubble, and they all go, you know, spinning faster. And I see that as an analogy for the world of permaculture and the values that we possess and how much they are echoed in the Bitcoin space, but in relation to technology. And I think by fusing the two, you will understand that our civilization will benefit greatly, and all of the people in both spaces will as well. And the reason why is because civilization is like this tree, right? We're growing, and we've got all of these reaching for the stars dreams and breakneck speed 21st century technological advancements like Bitcoin and 3D printing and all this. But if we don't have a strong root system based in the ancient wisdom traditions of this planet, that tree will get toppled over in the first updraft. You know, the first high wind, boom, done. And that's very much where we're at, I think, as a story for our civilization right now. And we have to return to these indigenous values that we all were born out of, right? Connection with the land, working in balance and synergy with our ecosystems. So I very much see permaculture as one of these big branches in our root system, right? That allows civilization to continue, because permaculture is not just some kind of fad or some kind of way of doing things that's like, ooh, all willy-nilly. This is, if our civilization is to continue and grow, it will be based on systems that are developed in permaculture, because they are so rejuvenative for the planet. They take care of its people, and they create profits and create an abundance surplus mentality rather than a scarcity one. It's a it's important that it won't be called permaculture in the future. It'll just be called the way of things. So on our branches at the highest reaches, we've got Bitcoin, Litecoin, Maza Coin, Aurora Coin, Dogecoin, and credits. And there's a number of other ones, but these are some of the ones that I wanted to highlight as the ecosystem of cryptocurrencies and what people are doing with them and what they can do. And they are the financial nutrients that we return to the soil to help grow our root system and feed nutrition into our growing civilization. Maza coin is the first official coin of the Lakota Nation. These coins are representative of the values and beliefs and ideologies of this nation of people. And I feel very strongly that this will be a vehicle for a return to engage colonialization from a strong position. And I look forward to chatting with the guys at Maza Coin so I can give them some input and ideas on how they can actually make their coin do some amazing things. Aurora Coin really gets me excited because it's the official, quote-unquote, cryptocurrency of the country of Iceland. Those wonderful folks who kicked out all the evil banksters, right? And they are recovering and Aurora Coin is one of the solutions that is being presented as a way to build their economy again. What Aurora Coin has done is created all of these coins, enough for having every person, every citizen of Iceland be given a big stack of coins. And because their value has gone up, everybody who has a national ID is given a coin via airdrop, is what they're calling it, and they're immediately going to get like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of value just because they're an Icelandic citizen. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this coin does. Dogecoin is this ridiculously awesome coin that was created based on an internet meme of a shibe dog, right? Saying grammatically incorrect things as sort of like a funny jokester sort of thing. Very ice, so racing, such sled, much coin. And what is amazing about the Dogecoin community is all of the giving that goes on. I mean, if I make you lol on Facebook and you get some value out of something that I said, you can tip me in Dogecoins, 15 cents worth or whatever, just for making you feel good for a moment. So it's micropayments, microtransactions, but for goodness, for everybody in the community is supporting all of these wonderful projects, and they just happen, you have a good idea on a Reddit forum, and somebody gives you like 2,000 Dogecoins. It's remarkable how much this community comes together and how excited they are and the good vibes that are created. And there's some really interesting things happening in this space that are going to benefit the whole digital community world. And they're sponsoring a NASCAR vehicle and getting it wrapped in Dogecoin logos, which is it's incredible what a group of people that have just similar values are doing together as a community, irrespective of their geographical location on the planet. This is huge for the development of our global village, right? So how cryptocurrencies help permaculture? It's ecosystems, building ecosystems. It's not one hedge fund or company or somebody that's in a position of power. It is an ecosystem supporting an ecosystem that does not need any trusted party to manage it. Local is the new global. Meaning that fella in Thailand, I can, if he's got tempeh that I want, I can, I don't have to wait for them to find distributors and bring it to the United States so I can pay in US dollars or whatever country and currency you're in. I can just send him the coins instantaneously. He can go and exchange them at on an online exchange and have them transferred into dollars, or he can just have them transferred into whatever currency he accepts right there and then, as easy as sending an email. So it is literally, we are now no longer separated by geographies. It's our ideologies, beliefs, and value systems that make us local now, because we're able to exchange value and increase the value of that way of thinking and being as a presence in the world. It's decentralized. No one is in charge. There is no one website that controls it. There is no one company that controls it. You can't put your gun to math and tell 2 + 2 to stop equaling 4. It is out the box. It is decentralized, and it is completely you can't stop it. So the only thing that we can do is figure out ways to integrate it, see this huge wave of transformation coming, and position ourselves in such a way that we are able to help direct the course of events on the planet and set systems up so that it's self-governing, so that people can determine the course of events, because our collective knowledge is way more valuable and usable than any one person's or one group of people's. So, intro to permacredits. It's the local currency for the global permaculture movement. And this is the logo, and the reason why I've chosen it is because it has 7 interlocking circles within a larger circle, so you've got the 7 directions plus the 8th, and then and it represents the 7 tenets of permaculture, right? So here we go.
Permacredits, local currency for the global permaculture movement. Permacredits are the world's first asset-backed decentralized cryptocurrency. They are backed by permaculture. And because it is backed by the hard work and ingenuity of the people, projects, and developments behind it, it grows in value. Permacredits do some awesome things. They pay rent and membership fees at our network of eco-villages, eco-developments, and permaculture institutes. They pay for retreats, rentals, vegetables, and more. They represent your stake in the developments, and they let you invest in permaculture no matter where you are. You can easily sell them on the open market. We pay people with them. We use them for voting. And because they are built on the same blockchain platform that powers the cryptocurrency world, we can use them as an automated, open-sourced balance sheet and ledger where everyone can see what projects are being worked on and how they are being run. And they will automatically pay out profits to our members in the network. All transparency, no shenanigans. We all agree to put our trust in maths. So join us in transforming our world with a triple bottom line of profits, people, and planet. Join the revolution and invest in a brighter, more balanced world of profits and permaculture with Permacredits.
So what exactly are permacredits? Well, there are a number of things. I'm going to go over those right now. First and foremost, they are a form of investment vehicle. They're a way for investors to support projects that they believe in. They can make their money back right away by selling the coins on the open market, and they will make a profit, and permacredits price goes up. And then they will also get a return on investment as the entire network is producing profits for itself and the people who hold credits and issued wallets by the Permacredits Foundation. So essentially, in a very loose way, this is like a hedge fund or mutual fund for the entire market space of permaculture-based businesses. People who are interested and see the profitability of each of our projects will buy permacredits, and they will buy it for a number of reasons. They will be able to get those coins in exchange for their Bitcoin dollar amount, whatever we charge for them, and they can take those credits and they can go turn around and sell them right away on the open market. Let's say they bought them for $0.01 and they turn around and sell them for $1. You know, they're making a good profit. So some people will do that, and that's healthy. Some people will hold on to them because they know that the value of them is worth more than that dollar, because eventually the profits of the entire system will be distributed instantaneously, seamlessly, in decentralized manner across all of the wallets of people who are permacredits holders. So if you have 10 coins and let's say $10 million was made network-wide that quarter, then that $10 million gets spread between all of the holders of wallets of permacredits. So you have 10 permacredits one day, and then based on the profit structures that come back in, then you have 200. Those numbers are definitely going to be changing and moving and growing as the ecosystem does, but that gives you a basic idea. So you can see how it's going to be an investment tool, and yet, because it is not, we're not requiring any of our people, any of our programs and projects, a specific rate and saying this is required, because what we're talking about is a transference from the scarcity, use of force mentality to an abundance surplus, paying it forward sort of structured. What we do is we incentivize all of our projects publicly. Everybody sees how much every program is putting into the pot, right? So if you have two eco-villages, both the same size and same scope, and one's only putting 20K back in quarterly and one's putting 100K in quarterly, then the whole ecosystem of permacredits holders through our decentralized app process can see that, because it's an open ledger that's really displayed simply, like Eco-Village A and Eco-Village B. Eco-Village A only put 20 grand, Eco-Village B put 100 grand. The whole crowd goes, wait a minute, what's wrong with you? Do you have a problem? Can we crowdsource the solution? Do you need help? We want to see the success of your project, and we see that this one's doing 100K, and we want to see what's going on. And that incentivizes through social engineering that Eco-Village A to want to put more in. Everybody's sort of competing to see who can put more in at that point. So it's an abundance surplus gifting economy, which also relates back to the indigenous values that we all came to this planet starting from, right? We change it from a scarcity mentality of like, we need to force you to give, we have to have contracts, and to a gifting one where the entire crowd is sourcing their competence and helping whatever organization is failing. Just like in a garden, when you have a polycultured garden and you see one area is not doing well, you want to go and take care of it, bring it the nutrients, maybe companion plant it with the right things so that it becomes productive. And this is what this whole Bitcoin 2.0 protocol that we're working with is going to allow us to do, and I'll demonstrate that further into the conversation. So essentially it's an investment vehicle with no forced pressure, no need for regulation. It's not there's no guarantee of we're going to give you this return on your investment at this time. This is a way of doing things that completely throws that whole legacy system on its ear. So we're very disruptive. So it's a currency. It pays the staff at eco-villages, resorts, farms, institutions, and more in our global network. And it's redeemable for goods and services in our global network. What that means is when you buy your credits, you can then turn around and let's say Jeff Lawton is offering his DVDs, he will accept permacredits, and it's seamless for him with no risk involved. He can just take the dollars if he wants, but he'll likely hold on to the credits because they're going to go up in value because they're a deflationary currency. There's only going to ever be so many, right? And they're issued in a certain sequence so that we grow the body of them without deflating or affecting the price so much, and there will always be a bottom line, a bottom floor price based upon whatever profits every quarter are being generated in the system. So it's tradable on the open market and usable globally, exchangeable for any currency, like an email, as easy as email, and we pay our members to vote on permacredits projects. So it is a currency, it is an investment vehicle, and it is more. The currency, if you're getting paid in a deflationary currency that is seamless and global and local at the same time, that can be easily exchanged back and forth into dollars or into Bitcoin or whatever you choose, then you are less likely to be spending your money frivolously because you want to hold on to it because it's gaining in value and giving you upward class migration. So, and that's a super duper important point that we'll be getting into a little bit further as well. So we also pay our members to vote on permacredits projects. When you get a stake in the ecosystem of credits, then you will be given a wallet, and that wallet allows you to do a number of things, like up and down vote in our app program. What projects are good, what projects are not, and the ecosystem will decide what projects are really viable. And we are creating a permaculture council made up of business experts, permaculture design experts, scientists, biologists, all of these things that. Once the ecosystem grows all of these different projects that people want to see happen, the council will just make sure that they take care of the soil, they feed the people, and they make profits. And if there's any sort of accreditation or certification that people need, they make sure that those things are in place too, and they look over the business plan and really make sure that this is going to work. You know, pick it apart with a fine-tooth comb, offering their services. Maybe it goes back into the ecosystem and other people crowdsource their solutions. It's a naturally growing environment for a healthy world of triple bottom line businesses. And we pay and incentivize our members to take part in this process, thereby inducing them into active participation. So permacredits are also a membership token. Every member gets issued these permacredits equivalent to their buy-in pegged to the dollar. So we'll sell permacredits for Bitcoin and Dogecoin and other coins, but it'll be based on it'll be pegged to the dollar. And you get, so let's say you spend $1 million and get however many permacredits that buys you, then you automatically have a stake. We're thinking about a minimum stake of maybe $100 USD to get a wallet and have up and down voting privileges or something like that. That will all be decided when our council is together, because there's a lot of things that need deciding that I can help set up, but I'd want to crowdsource the intel from everybody else, because I think there are a lot of really smart people out there who may have a better perspective, and from the perspective of economics and the rates of inflation and all of that. So every member gets a vote pegged to their wallet, deciding new projects, global permacredit projects, and more, and who will sit on the council, things like that. Important decisions that the entire ecosystem can be involved in. And you get that based upon your wallet and interaction and stake in the system. So members who hold permacredits get access to the decentralized governance app, where these projects, bounties, and more are managed by the network. This app will show you all of the different currencies you have in all of your different wallets, and will also allow you to send and receive funds. It will also allow you to, the next tab will show you the bounties that are being offered by your particular program or project that you're involved with, as well as the meta space of permacredits itself. So for instance, let's say there is a bounty for somebody to design an app for kids, 3 to 5 years old, and we're offering, you know, $10,000 worth of US dollars worth of permacredits for that. Somebody can go and sign up for that and say, I accept that bounty, and then that money's put in escrow. Once the project's done and the community says this is cool and upvotes it, then the money goes directly into that person's wallet, and it's totally seamless. And then there will be places where you can produce your own bounties and see what the profits of the network are according to each different project. So let's say there's 3 eco-villages, 5 farms, 2 permaculture and design institutes, and a power station that's generating hydropower. So you can look at each one of those projects and see which one is putting how much profits back into the network. Totally seamlessly, it's easy enough for a 4-year-old to use. And getting a permacredits wallet at the minimum buy-in gets you all of those features and gets you involved and in taking part in the ecosystem. They're also a ledger. So everything is open, transparent, and forever recorded on the blockchain for everyone to see and audit. This is important for a trustless society where we don't have to rely on one gatekeeper or bottlenecker to decide and have all of this influence on a system. What we are able to do is use math as the system to create this open transparency and encourage involvement. So it's totally open source, and there's no hidden anything, and every decision and allocation of funds is real-time public data. So you can be keeping up with all the projects as they're going and seeing how they're run, and if you have an idea, you can interface directly with that organization. It allows us to crowdsource intel and solutions. So how do permacredits work? So we're going to be talking about the issuance, right? Every quarter, or 4 times a year, a new issuance of permacredits takes place, and it's a set amount of US dollar equivalent based upon however many projects are percolating through the ecosystem. And in the very beginning, we're going to be helping those projects get and plug into the system, setting the stage, how it's done, what the business plan standardization looks like, what a video presentation needs to have, what, you know, all of the basics, setting up the rules essentially. And it's funds a set number of projects that are chosen and incentivized by an incentivized community participation voting process. So I explained that, the up and down voting, the projects naturally get selected by the ecosystem's involvement, and the best ones percolate to the top based upon a crowdsourced solutions and information network. And with the help of the Permaculture Council, we ensure quality control and profitability. The council involved in each quarter gets paid a bounty to facilitate the process. So let's say this quarter we want to raise $10 million worth of permacredits because we have a Guatemalan land project that's 200 hectares and it's a cloud forest, and we're putting in a specially designed high-end eco-resort that's specifically catering to scientists, biologists, National Geographic explorers, and folks like that has specialized equipment and everything in a perfect niche market. You know, that might just pay, that one project might be 10 million. But there's a number of other ones. But so the council looks at it and says, oh, okay, is it keeping in with the permaculture design principles? Yes. Is it going to be taking care of the people involved in the project? Yes. Is it going to make a profit? Yes. Let's look at the business plan, da-da-da-da-da. So then once they bring it forward and say, yeah, we give our stamp of approval on this project, we believe it's going to work, and we even have contacts that can help it, and all of this stuff will just naturally percolate in the ecosystem, right? That project then goes to public and gets funded, and those JEDI Permaculture Council members each get their bounty for helping that, consulting on that process, right? So they're going to be incentivized to pick the best one. So what we're doing is we're creating a natural selection process. We're creating a system whereby people can plug in, and the natural best of the best will appear, and we will be able to fund and bring a lot of energy and financial nutrients to the projects that are going to go forward and really take permaculture and Bitcoin mainstream, increasing both the user adoption on both parties and the effect on the planet and our future generations. So this ensures co-opetition in the permaculture market, right? And a healthy ecosystem of successful projects. Somebody might have a farm on one side of the country, and somebody else might have a farm on the other. They're not exactly competitors, but they do sell globally, and they, you know, are looking. They both teach permaculture design courses or whatever. And they're both wanting to get funded. Whichever one has the highest degree of likelihood of profits, planet, and people will just naturally get selected by the community. So it encourages cooperation, because one guy's project might have a component that the other guys didn't, and they're going to share because they want the entire ecosystem to succeed, but they're also looking for a share in the garden plot, as it were. So those projects then get funded at each quarter, and they begin operations. There's a lag time that we don't expect any profits to be shared back into the network, but that's each project's dependent upon its business plan, right? So what we want to do is we want to create a healthy ecosystem of programs and projects that are going to have different harvest times. You want your microgreens, and you want them in zone 1 real close to your house because you're going to go pick them a lot. And then you want, some garlic and stuff on the outside that's going to take a couple years to mature with your asparagus and whatnot. But you're going to pick a variety of polycultured projects that will have different return levels, but at different times and different harvest times. And that will be project specific, of course. And again, it's not a forceful, you owe us this percentage by this time scarcity mentality. It is this project is undoubtedly so successfully planned with stacking functions and profitability built into it that you're going to want to, as people in the permaculture world, we want to build our ecosystems. Like when we have an abundance, part of the tenets is to build our ecosystem and share and grow it. So we naturally have that ethos of, yes, we want permaculture itself to work because we really want the planet to be okay, and we really want to continue this grand experiment we call human civilization. So what we do is we provide everybody true incentives to take part and put profits back in. And that's socially engineered into the open governance system, where you get to see Eco-Village A is producing 20 grand quarterly, Eco-Village B is producing 100 grand quarterly. Everybody's going to look at it because it's going to be open source and say, what are you doing, Eco-Village A? What's wrong? Can we help you? Because we want the system to succeed, because we're gaining wealth. By your success, we're gaining success, right? So everybody's vested and wants to see everybody succeed, and so there's no shenanigans or games or, nobody has to worry about holding on to their ideas so tightly. It's something that benefits the whole system. So everybody will look at Eco-Village A and say, why are you not producing 100K like the other guys? And that will put pressure on them to do so, but also will be able to give them opportunities to crowdsource solutions. So how to get permacredits? You buy them at their lowest price at the first launch. That by far is going to be the easiest and most profitable way to get them. And then you have your business, eco-development, resort, farm, etc. start accepting them. This is going to be something that we actually build into the program. We're going to go and engage all of the different institutions, schools, and businesses and say, hey, you should accept permacredits. Here's why. It's seamless. You don't have any risk. It builds this economy, blah, 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 blah. So we encourage people to start accepting them, and we will make that very easy for everybody to do. You can start a permaculture-based business in our network and get funded, percolate through the ecosystem, get picked for each issuance quarterly. There's going to be a number of opportunities, and you're going to know that your project will succeed by the end of its gauntlet run through everybody's ideas and input and advice. And you'll find that your project may take on many more functions that you didn't even know were possible, and increase the profitability and increase the viability of it. So that's really a great way to do it as well. And my projects will go through just like everybody else's. This is not some way for me to get rich quick in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I could create a coin and go and turn around and sell it and just take the profits, but if we take those profits and turn them back into profit-generating things that are going to take care of our planet, then I would rather do that and get paid bounties just like the rest of the council. So buy them at a premium on the open market. You can, when they go into exchanges, you're going to pay a premium because nobody's going to sell them for less than what they bought them for. And then, or you can work at an eco-development permaculture institute in the network and get paid in them. So if you are at a development that is permacredits funded, then all the people there will get paid in the permacredits in an appreciating asset that will help build their own personal wealth and upward class migration, which is super duper important, not just in this world, but in the third world, nations or developing nations. So why would we want to use permacredits? Well, besides the fact that by bringing money into an ecosystem of productivity, livelihood, and health and balance on the planet, like what will happen with credits will become, since we're first to market, since we're defining the market and how a decentralized, autonomous, self-governing, consensus-based organization will work, we are able to take that global is local mentality now and really determine entire sectors, entire markets as a collective. This will make the planet healthier and happier because there will not be some bottleneck controller somewhere deciding what market gets funded and what doesn't. It will be the collective intelligence of the people together that are involved in it that determine it. And this goes a long way. From a historical perspective, this is a turning point in our cycle of our civilization to true self-governance. It's as if we are teenagers as a species, and all of a sudden we are getting thrust into taking care of ourselves. And I think that this is a good thing. And again, if we position ourselves now, we will define how the future of economies are, we will be the template that they follow. And it's really easy, super easy, like sending an email. That's how involved it is to be using permacredits and creating value. And you can support all the businesses in the permaculture space that are making the world a healthier, happy, more sane place from the safety of your apartment. So if you live in a suburb or in the city and there are no permaculture projects for you to get involved in, but you really believe in it, you think it's awesome, you can buy permacredits and be supporting that world. And when you want to take a vacation, you can take those permacredits and go use them at the resort of your choice. It's that much fun. So upward class migration, because it's a deflationary currency that is pegged with a floor base price based upon the profits that are created by the system, it's something that will always increase in value and never decrease by the point where you purchase them in, right? Because there's always a bottom floor that it has at least this much value because it generates this much value and money for yourself. And profits are shared network-wide, so your return on investment, right? So because we're not a true investment vehicle, because we do not operate in dollars, because we are not guaranteeing profits and we're not bound by the regulations that drive the capitalist markets, we are able to do a great number of things in the ways that they were meant to do, in an abundance mentality, in a sharing, profitability, gifting economy. And that is huge. We are really literally tying some of the basic core values that help build our civilization with the furthest reaches of our technological advancements and bridging the gap. So trends. This is the trends of the past. My box, watches, fancy clothes. The trends of the future are healthy food and clean water. It'll be a treat to get an orange, let alone an organic orange in the future. We seek to mitigate the damages caused by a rampantly destructive market-driven system that just destroys all of the resources available to it. We look at things in a different way, and we want to be able to make it sustainable. So let's talk about some case studies. Gordon is a financial guy. He's a big mover and a shaker. He's got a place in New York, but he lives on Colony Earth with his wife and 2 kids. And the reason why is because he loves clean food, clean water. He loves the safety of the neighborhood, the fact that there's on-site childcare and education, where the kids are taught Mandarin, business, all the basics and fundamentals, and also gardening and hands-on outdoor experience, which is just vital for a healthy, growing mind. He does not garden, not a green thumb at all. He is, in fact, the only interaction he had with gardening was when he was a young kid. His mom, they lived in the South. His mom had a garden out back, and he trampled through them playing football one day, got some spankings, and said, "I don't like plants." But like I said, he loves the vegetables. He loves the organic vegetables and clean water. And so he lives on Colony Earth. And since he's a financial guy and he just came back from a big trip, his wife and kids are away at her mom's place. He just arrived home and opens up his app, his Permacredits app, which shows him all the balances of all of his different holdings, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Aurora Coin, credits, and his US dollars, and also his yuan, because he travels overseas to Asia and does work over there. And they're all linked. That one app links to all of his accounts and all of his different wallets and the different coins, and he can see his balances and basically what his net worth is at the time. And then it also shows the quarterly profits that the Permacredits network is injecting back into the system quarterly, and broken down by project. Which project generated how much and why. And that, like I was saying earlier, and we'll discuss a little bit further, is like it incentivizes everybody to give more, because if you see that 2 projects are equal in scope, but one is giving plenty more than the other, everybody's going to put their eyes on the other and be like, what's going on? Why? So he just saw that the hydro plant that they opened up recently under Permacredits is producing tons of power, feeding it back into the system, and they're getting paid for it, and it also powers Colony Earth. So there was a large percentage of revenue that came in from them. And then also Colony Earth itself has this program where they're creating bioluminescent plants and propagating them, kind of like in Avatar, the movie, with Pandora, the glowing plants. Well, they really exist now, and Colony Earth is growing them and selling them for a couple $100s a pop. And so that is bringing an extra set of revenue in that wasn't there last quarter. And so the amount of money that he got back as a dividend or profit share is like, he's astounded by it, he loves it, and it's great. He clicks over to the next tab, and he sees all the bounties that are being offered in Colony Earth and in the Permacredits community, and he sees that there's a vote to see who the next council member will be, and he upvotes this particular lady that he thinks is just stellar, and leaves it at that. He gets paid, 2 permacredits or something for it. And then he also sees that Colony Earth is having a farm day that the farm stewards set up, where everybody gets together and crop mobs this one garden that they have. And like I said, he's not a gardener, he's not into it, but the last time he did it at the behest of his wife, he just had a grand old time. He didn't know what he was doing, but he was laughing with everybody, making jokes. The kids were having a great time. His wife looked at him longingly. It was just really beautiful, and he remembers that good vibe, and it felt so awesome and so outside the normal day-to-day scope of his business traveling world that it's really awesome. And not only that, but they're offering 10 permacredits per person. So he signs up him and his whole family, and they'll get paid 40 permacredits to go and have fun out in the gardens one day next weekend. So he signs up for that, and the 40 permacredits get put into an escrow account automatically, so that when the farm manager clicks off the work that he had done, they get them. But he's not really too concerned about that, because he's doing well. It's like 40 permacredits, whatever. He's getting paid to have fun with his family on a really wonderful staycation. Not only that, but he put a bounty in before he left on his business trip this weekend. Remember, his wife and kids are visiting her mom. He put in a bounty to have his house clean because he was going to be away, and his wife asked that when they start the week out that the house is nice and clean. So he looks around the house. He set up the contract, right? He said, I want my house clean, 40 permacredits, bounty, click. It's sitting there. His neighbor Margaret actually saw it, clicked on it, and said, I'm going to be around. I can take care of it for you, Gordon. No worries. So she clicks on it and accepts it. That 40 permacredits gets put into a escrow account. She cleans the house, clicks on her app, and says completed. He comes home. He's doing his app thing, right? And he looks around. He's like, yeah, it's done. And so he clicks completed. That 40 permacredits that were in escrow now go to her account seamlessly, without having to have community meetings, without having to have consensus building round circles, any of that. This is all taken care of via the apps and interactivity. So he realizes that he's getting paid 40 permacredits to have fun, and he just ended up paying for those 40 permacredits to have his house cleaned. He's a very happy camper, a very savvy dude, and really benefits from this whole lifestyle without having any skill in growing food. Sophia and Rusty live on Colony Earth. Poor Rusty's dad, his dad was a base jumper and met with an unfortunate fate not so long ago. And him and Sophia got married they got together when they were in college. Eventually got married after that, but they were both, pretty broke because she was a teacher and he was, a base jumper. You don't make much money base jumping. However, they did have a child, Rusty, and he's a bright young kid, really awesome. And Sophia's kind of out on her own now and doesn't know what to do. Well, she found Colony Earth and realized she could pay only $500 a month, equivalent of permacredits in rent, and be able to trade also hours against that rent. So at a fixed rate, and she gets paid in permacredits. So what ends up happening, she's the teacher at the school that Gordon's kid's at, and Rusty is a student at. And you'll see Symphony, she's a student there too. They're learning Mandarin school, they're gardening, and she's the teacher there. And she gets paid for her time teaching, which offsets her rent, but she's also getting paid in a deflationary currency that raises in value, that always has a specific floor based upon the profits of the entire system. And so she is building wealth in an asset class of cryptocurrency called permacredits, as well as taking care of the functions of her life and taking care of her children, so that she can make sure that Rusty grows up in a good way and doesn't take up base jumping. So Chad, Brenda, and Symphony. Chad and Brenda met in Thailand. They both had a love for tempeh and came back to the States, started a tempeh company, live at Colony Earth, which has a FDA certified kitchen, commercial kitchen, where they started their tempeh business out of. Because Colony Earth is incubating their tempeh business, they've agreed that they will share profits, maybe 3% back into Colony Earth off their tempeh business for forever, right? So they're growing, they're getting regional, they're getting orders, people are having interest from California, and so they end up traveling to Thailand or to Indonesia a lot, where there's another permacredits-based eco-village where they live at. And so they have two homes, one here in the States, one over in Indo, where they're sourcing their materials and also sourcing their recipes and whatnot. And they pay the same price for two amazing locations with built-in economies and schools and businesses for the same price that they would pay for one small home in Silicon Valley. And they're getting the benefits of the entire system and getting their business incubated in such a way that the profits from that business will go to feeding Colony Earth, which there go and feeds the entire Permacredits community, right? And their daughter Symphony goes to the school on site with Gordon's kids and Rusty. So Dylan is awesome. He's a college student, though he doesn't know if he's going to stay a college student. He really knows how to play banjo really well, but he really, really loves growing stuff and growing food and taking care of gardens. And whenever there's a retreat that comes through Colony Earth, he's always there to provide some antics and build a campfire and bonfire and sort of host, because he loves meeting new people and getting to show off his banjo skills. And the farm manager thinks that Dylan's going to just be stellar. Dylan doesn't have any, desire to go out and conquer and create businesses. He's just really cozy with growing stuff. And the farm manager is looking at him and saying, you're probably going to be the next farm manager. Well, Dylan's getting paid in permacredits, but goes well and way beyond the work that he's supposed to do, quote unquote, that's expected, just because he loves it and is passionate about it. He ends up paying all of his rent in permacredits and has a surplus. And since they're going up in value, he too is building his wealth and his net worth in upward class migration with permacredits. Some final notes. This is a community-driven adventure. This is not me building a pirate ship and sailing it and saying, we will go and conquer and I'm going to get all this booty. This is a community-driven thing. What the first few years is going to involve me sort of helping folks get plugged in, building out the system, helping folks get enrolled and accepting credits, setting the stage for what the rules would be and getting that discussion, that dialogue going, facilitating the birth of this, more like a midwife of this. I have no ultimate financial stake in how I'm not making profits off of this. Let's just say it that way. I will be putting my projects through just like everybody else. The only thing that I'm doing that I see is like building this wind-up toy, showing everybody the design plans, how it works, and saying, let's go see what this can do. Okay? This first round of permacredits will fund a couple projects like eco-developments and farms, and it will also go to paying bounties for developers to get that app in place, going to pay people to go build a network and engage all of the eco-villages, farms, institutions, and resorts and power stations and stuff like that to start accepting credits as a form of currency, again, seamless and without risk, and then also engaging and building relationships with investors who want to buy credits and want to see the world of permaculture succeed and know the value in having a community ecosystem of profits and bottom line, triple bottom line. So I am not CEO. Again, I'm just the guy who sees how this can work, see what kind of difference and impact it'll have, not just on our generations, but on our future generations, and what it means to be a sovereign human on this planet. And we need to rebuild the ecosystems of this planet. There's been so much damage. So I'm really just a visionary guy who sees these things, sees how they can connect and create a first user experience that will set the tone for the next millennia. Some final notes. And when this all takes place, and when this ecosystem is being built, and we have the first organization that is decentralized, autonomous, self-governing, and self-determining, I know I will have done my part to help build the kind of world I want to live in. I feel so blessed and honored to be a steward of this project along with my team, who are just stellar. I think that we are on the cusp of something very important, and credits are going to be holding the front and center stage when that takes place. So thank you very much for your time. I hope this answers some questions. I will be giving recordings of all of my presentations to the community so that you can understand further and kind of take this adventure with us. And I'll be doing video blogs and whatnot. So thank you again. Please be sure to go to permacredits.com or .org and sign up on the email list. Learn more, get plugged in, and take part in the discussions, because there are things like rules and how the projects will be determined, what the requirements to be on the council are. All of these things need to be discussed, and there are people out there, you out there, could have a key to this thing that I have not even thought of yet. And so sign up on the email list. We'll be doing an email discussion to start until we build our blog and have the app in place to be doing it within the ecosystem. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to working with you.